So it is not an entitlement, the type of insurance. That's my one point. The other point is, why has there not been an effort to tax the rich and tax the poor? I mean, everything all got taxed for the middle class and the poor, and that's not right.
Well, thank you for the question. What she asked is about taxations and about her paying into the system. Once again, if you'd like to tax the system, I don't care anybody. How about everybody? The lowest tax bracket is 66%. And it goes up beyond that. You can't touch it. It is. It is. I mean, there are greater people that are doing the better numbers on that. Number two is the tax structure is broken, and we have to build it differently. Everybody has to have some skin in the game. The things that were offered to our seniors are not attainable because they're based on suppositions that, number one, each working class will be bigger than the next, and that didn't happen. Number two is we're living longer. Those were never taken into fabrication into the equation, as well as it was never heralded as how much the investment return would come about. I'm here to ask the question. I know lots of people need the services. I think it's an opportunity to make that discussion. Yes, sir.
Yeah. Can we have a smaller government, doesn't that?
Well, it's him right there. Sorry, that's all right.
Hello, my name is George Bonnie. I live right here in Sedona. I understand, sir, that you recently voted to kill Medicare. Is that correct?
No.
That's not correct. Okay.
It's not correct.
All right. Now, your personal health insurance, is that a government-run program?
Absolutely not. I carry my own private.
All right. The independent CBO, Congressional Budget Office, estimates that the Ryan Health Plan will add $6,500 for seniors to pay every year. And I just can't imagine older folks like us, most of us anyway, dealing with independent insurance companies. What's going to happen with things like pre-existing medical conditions? I think it's going to be a disaster.
Well, did you get the question? Was that loud enough that you got the question? I was asked if I voted to kill Medicare. I said no. If I took federally funded health insurance, and that answer is no. And then how are we going to work with the cutting with the CBO? Let's talk about the Congressional Budgetary Office. Congressional Budgetary Office is independent, but they are functioning based upon what information you give them. If you do not give them proper information, you will not get proper information out. And once again, I also said that there's going to be some differentials because of the dynamics in the marketplace. That's exactly why I dropped House Bill 1150. I told you that I was a big backer of it. It's a little different for Republicans. But what it is it's the anti-competitive practices of insurance companies. And basically, they are one of the few groups that are given the ability to not have federal oversight by the Federal Trade Commission in regards to monopolies or collusion. They share information horizontally amongst all of you. They know all your information across the board. And what this basically says is that we want more competition in the marketplace. So they have to compete fairly, just like the rest of us do in our respective businesses. It also adds another caveat to that, and that is that we've got a problem with class action lawsuits. They really are only helpful to basically the attorneys. Give you a quick example. The Cobell settlement was actually a case with the Native Americans filing suit against then Secretary of Interior Bruce Babbitt for mismanagement of funds. See you, Tom. What ended up happening is that settlement was done by the Justice Department. The attorneys asked for almost a little over $250 million in settlement fees, when most people would look at 10, maybe 30, top end $50 million of settlement. Those folks are getting that type of reward when the member of the class, the people they represent, gets less than $2,000. That's not right. So what we did is we narrowed the focus on that because it is a weak point to the insurance companies. So what that basically does is increases the competition. And by the way, the federal government does do that. They use that to their benefit because they all know the Medicare rates for each individual company because they share that. They're within pennies of each other. If you doubt me, go pull them up. Go check it. What this does is allow the Federal Trade Commission to make sure that they also have oversight that the process is fair increasing the productivity and the different options that you will have in the marketplace. I am a believer in the free markets. But I'm also looking at the playing field, and that's what government is to provide that we have some fair range in which to provide with. Because individual businesses are not angels either. We need a happy balance. That's where we're going to have the competition model. Just hand it to you.
Yeah, I guess my question was about Lee Sullivan.
Hi, Lee.
Corporatocracy. It's a word that I think means government by corporations.
Mm-hmm.
And aren't we lending ourselves to that more and more? With the Supreme Court approving the law a couple of years ago, the corporations cannot contribute as much as they want to political campaigns. We see companies like General Electric that aren't paying taxes. A lot of people calling for a smaller government, and there's going to be a certain amount of governance that's necessary anywhere. If it doesn't come from our government, it's going to come from corporations. And it seems as though the gist of what you seem to be saying, even with your Medicare, for instance, taking aside, on universal health care, the only issue there is whether or not people actually make a profit when you get sick, rather than make a fair wage and get paid, get compensated for what their business services are. Somebody's got to make a profit. And this lends itself still to corporatocracy in those in countries that have universal health care. All of them have longer life expectancy. I mean,
No, they don't.
Yeah, they do.
No, they don't.
Take a look at England. Take a look at Germany. We're number 32nd when it comes down to health care.
No,
And
but
those are voter objective measures. Yes, we are. And I know you want to convince people that we're not, but no, our health care is not as good as it is in some other countries, and they aren't losing their houses every time they have a major medical emergency. Losing their houses and citizens or bankruptcies are coming to people because of medical emergencies.
well, first of all, when you make decisions, make sure statistically you're talking about apples to apples. Because what ends up happening is when you decide about mortality rates, morbidity rates within healthcare, you have to make sure how each country is taking their denotations. Some people in some countries actually look at morbidity rates in childbirth after 6 months. Some do it right at birth. So life expectancies are not apples to apples across the board. I'll give you a quick question. One of the premiers in Canada needed bypass surgery. He was in Canada. Why did he come down to the United States? Because he couldn't get it. It's called limit. It's not just isolated. It's not just isolated. A business model, I mean, you can, folks, how many family docs do you have around here? In order to provide a service, you have to make a living. Why you don't have any family docs is because the reimbursement is too low. They can't stay in business. My personal physician has gone out of business 3 times. Most people aren't going to do that. But his whole point is that making sure that health care is accessible to people. The problem has been the rates established by the federal government from very get-go. Instead of building a preventative-based model, a community-based model, we've built a treatment-based model. You can't treat your way out of that. There is a model here in this country that can be built on that supposition. It's the Native Americans. Native Americans are based on matriarchal design, which means community-based, and number 2 is preventative.